2 Timothy, and let's read in 2 Timothy 2. Thou therefore, my son, be strong in the grace that is in Christ Jesus, and the things that thou hast heard of me among many witnesses, the same commit thou to faithful men, who shall be able to teach others also. Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Jesus Christ. Now, some people out there may say, wasn't Timothy written by Timothy? But it wasn't. So if you don't know, or if you do, Timothy is a letter that Paul, who's a mentor to his son, his mentee Timothy, he's writing to him. And it's the second letter that Paul has written. And the reason that Paul, who's such a world traveler, is writing these letters is because Paul has been arrested and he's in prison. And this second letter comes to his son, his beloved mentee, this child that he has sort of taken from his home and taken under his wing at a really crucial time for that child, for Timothy. And Timothy is no child. He's raising a church in a place called Ephesus, which is like the big city in Asia Minor. And in this city, it gives tribute to the goddess Artemis. Artemis is the patron goddess of the city. And so there's a lot of persecution that comes to the Christians. And what Paul starts to write to Timothy here is encouragement. So he starts to talk in these next few verses that we're going to look at about suffering for Jesus Christ. Because as you partake in the suffrage, that's where you start to partake in the abundance. And there's a reason that Paul, who's sitting in prison, is writing these words to Timothy. So let's continue on in 2 Timothy 2 and see what else Paul has to say to Timothy. So, let's see. So, no man that entangleth himself with the affairs of this life, that he may please himself, who hath chosen to be a soldier. And if a man also strive for masteries, yet he is not crowned, except he strive lawfully. The husbandman that laboreth must first be partaker of the fruits. So what Paul begins here in his letter to Timothy is to write about all these different metaphors, these three metaphors, right? Each one talks about how you have to suffer a little bit in order to experience the good life, the abundance. And in each of these metaphors, you end up being a soldier. You end up being crowned. You end up being a good husbandman. These are things that we want to be for Jesus Christ. So that's what Paul is telling his mentee here. He's saying, hey, I know it's tough, but we're going to suffer because these are what are going to make us good items, good prospects, good roles to serve our King. And in our King, there is abundance and there are blessings that you will see in the future. And so as we wrap up this video and talking about Paul and Timothy, I'll leave you with this. There's an emperor, and this emperor is right now wanting a new palace. And what he's done is he's set a fire right where Timothy is. And he's blamed that fire on the Christians who meet in secret, who talk about the world ending in fire, who talk about consuming blood and body, who talk about all these things that the emperor is going to use to push his own agenda. And that's going to become really hard for Timothy, who's raising the church. So as we continue looking at 2 Timothy, as we explore this letter between Paul and Timothy in the coming weeks, what I'll begin to tell you about is how Timothy really started to strike out on his own, how he started to serve Jesus Christ, becoming a good soldier, getting ready to be crowned, and then ultimately becoming a good husbandman to the church, to Jesus Christ, and to us all in his leadership, as we get to know Timothy through his mentor Paul's letters in 2 Timothy. Happy Sunday, chatting at Cheesman. Happy Sunday.